morning, everyone. I'm Eli.
And I'm Zach. And welcome to the Mr. History Show, where we discuss our favorite thing,
History.
Today we are focusing on the campaign poster of William Henry Harrison's presidential campaign in the election of 1840 itself.
Following the National Whig Convention in 1839, a Democratic newspaper, in an attempt to paint Harrison as lazy and unfit, said the following.
Give him a barrel of hard cider and a pension of $2,000 a year, and he will sit the remainder of his days in a log cabin.
After this, Harrison proudly became the log cabin candidate. But we shall get back to that later.
Yes, so what happened before all of that?
Well, following the presidency of Andrew Jackson, two new parties emerged.
The first were the Democrats, who derived from the Democratic Republicans of the past.
The Democrats were still the party of the common man. They decided more power for the state and local levels, and less for the federal government.
So were they the exact same as Democratic Republicans?
No. Actually, Jacksonian expansionism, voting expansions, and anti-centralist financial proposals redefined the new Democratic Party, a cross-regional alliance of the middle and working classes, including new voters who did not own land, hardcore supporters of slavery in the South, and backcountry farmers who sought expansion.
The second were the Whigs, who I guess you could say were derived from the Federalists.
Whigs? Like what my grandpa wears on his head?
No, you silly goose. The Whigs were a party that started in the 19th century.
Whoa. Slow your roll there, buddy. I was talking about the Democrats first, so let's just get them out of the way.
Okay, go ahead.
So like I was saying, the Democrats emerged in the 19th century from the Democratic Republicans. Like we said before, they were the party of the simple, non-wealthy American. They strove to take power away from the scheming and corrupt wealthy elite and return it to the people. Their ideals were still built on the principle of the yeoman farmer brought forward by Thomas Jefferson. Democrats stood for the sovereignty of the people, as expressed in their popular demonstrations, constitutional conventions, and majority rule as a general principle of governing.
Thank you for that excellent explanation, Eli. Now let's talk about the Whigs. They were founded in 1833 by Senator Henry Clay. Some of their main ideas included supporting a national bank, tariffs, and economic development. They were also more religious than Democrats. Whigs advocated the rule of law, written in unchanging constitutions, and protections for minority interests against majority tyranny. They were influenced by the ideals of Hamilton and his federal economic strategy. Their base was primarily located in New England, the Mid-Atlantic, and the Upper Midwest.
These being the centers of national and global trade and commerce in the U.S.
Exactly. Some notable Whig leaders besides Henry Clay were Daniel Webster and William Henry Harrison.
But we'll get to them in a second.
So, what's one example when these two parties battled?
Well, in the election of 1836, Democrat Martin Van Buren went head-to-head with the Whigs William Henry Harrison, Hugh Lawson White, and Daniel Webster. In order to win this election, Van Buren released campaign songs, posters like this one. He would mass-produce them and hand them out.
Aggressive campaigning is one of the main reasons that Van Buren received more votes than the three Whigs combined. However, even though they weren't that successful during their first big political race, William Henry Harrison would come back 4 years later with an even stronger desire to win.
In 1840, Harrison defeated the incumbent Van Buren in a landslide, taking 234 electoral votes to Van Buren's 60.
As we said earlier, prior to the election, he was deemed the log cabin candidate.
This campaign poster that Harrison put out shows himself relaxing in front of a log cabin with two other men next to barrels of hard cider.
He absorbed the nickname to such a high degree that at a certain point, he handed out hard cider to potential supporters in front of a cabin.
Despite the Whigs in actuality being the party of the elite, this strategic branding of Harrison's campaign made it seem like the simple, honest, and relatable candidate. This being extremely ironic, considering Harrison had come from a wealthy and elite family, whereas Van Buren had a poorer background.
The log cabin related to the frontiersmen and pioneers, who flocked westward to find a better future, and hard cider was seen as the drink of the common man.
Cider was often drunk at the Whig rallies, cementing the grassroots status of Harrison's campaign. Harrison attracted what was almost like a cult following. His rallies and speeches were often very fun and entertaining for the people.
Around the election, a mile-long parade was organized in Columbus, Ohio, which featured floats including a log cabin on wheels and hard cider on every street corner. The event was attended by tens of thousands, most of which sported pioneer outfits.
Harrison running as the log cabin candidate was significant because it showcased how catering to the people in election is very important. By undertaking a somewhat informal and for-the-people persona, Harrison was able to captivate the people in a way that hadn't been seen in all likelihood since Washington's inauguration, and this truly convinced people to vote for him in 1840.
But here's the big question. How does this relate to the market revolution?
Well, the Whigs were the party of economic development. They supported and brought forward plans for internal improvements like canals, telegraphs, and road systems. All of these benefited the urban poor.
Interesting. And with that, we begin to wrap up our podcast.
Wait, did you say rap?
Oh my, it appears that Young Colonial is in the studio today. Young Colonial on the track. Yeah. We are talking about the wigs, not the fake hair on your head, but the coming of the second party instead. The Federalists revived. Henry Clay arrived. Because of him, the wealthy started to thrive. The Whigs believed in national power. Urban empowerment, towers by the hour, was based inside New England. Hard cider they did drink and say power sunk like quicksand, pushed Democrats to the brink. And in 1836, Van Buren used his tricks to beat Harrison for control of politics. But in 1840, Will came back from Marty, crushed old Van Buren and became presidente. Log cabin candidate used this as his campaign bait to get more power to the country and less to the state. He was successful, made Democrats feel stressful, but sadly his days in office were only a handful.
Zach Traum.
Young Colonial on the track. Yeah. Wow, a truly inspiring performance by Young Colonial.
Thank you for listening to the Mr. History Show. I'm Eli.
And I'm Zach. Good night.